Hi, my name is James Gortzman. I am CEO and co-founder of PlayFab, and today we're demonstrating one of the newest features of PlayFab, something called PlayStream. The best way to show you what PlayStream is simply to give you a demonstration of it. So let's just jump right in. This is a game called Guardians of Orion. Right now, this is a real-time shooter. It's a first-person shooter game. It's a real-time game, and you can see right now this is the event feed of events being generated by this game in real time, and all these events are being put into a pipeline. And as they come through this pipeline, we have the opportunity to visualize and inspect the events as they go by. So for example, I can click on an event like a stat change event and see, okay, it's a statistic change event. Here's the name of the stat. Here's the old value. Here's the new value. In this case, actually, the event didn't actually change. Here's a unique ID of the event. Every event that comes through our system has a unique ID assigned to it. So later on, when you're debugging, you can kind of track these events through and see where they're coming from. You can see things like players leaving, joining multiplayer lobbies, things like players buying items, consuming items. For example, here I can click on this and actually see the item being consumed. I can also, from this event, click on the player itself and see who is this player. And I can see things like what's in this player's inventory. And I can see things like, okay, here's all the items in this player's inventory. I can see things like this particular player's event history, just as one player, and see all the different events this one player is generating, independent from the game. So that makes it very useful when it's time to debug and understand sort of what's going on in your game. And in this case, if you're doing customer service, being able to have all the events of the player in one place becomes actually quite useful. But there's a lot more to PlayStream than just visualizing these events in real time. If you look at this diagram we put together, the first piece is having all the data in one place and being able to visualize it. Where things really get interesting is the ability to take these events and automatically route them off and pass them off to third parties, as well as be able to make decisions based on the events as they come through the system. So let's take a look at how we do that. Let me switch gears and go to a different game. Let's go down to Unicorn Battle here. So in this particular case, this is a game that runs on a mobile phone that we have built as a demonstration, and we can use it to show off some of the things we can do here with PlayStream. So one of the first things we do is just to talk about the events. So all the events that come through the pipeline, we keep a history of all the events. And exactly how long the history we keep for depends a little bit on what service tier you have. In this event tier, we have a little bit more information on events. We can click on an event here, for example, and I can actually see a delivery history for the event. So not just the fields of the event, but if we're delivering this event onward to other third-party services, I can see when it was delivered and whether, if it didn't get through the first time, how many times it had to retry, for example. And that's super useful if you're debugging your integrations with third-party services, because all too often, if you're, it's really frustrating when revenue events don't match up, for example, and you're not sure why. And this gives you a chance to figure out and sort out where event data might have gotten lost. We also can make it very easy for you to have your own archive of events. So if you just want a raw dump of every event coming through the system, we make that really easy. You can create an S3 bucket, and we'll set it up for you, provide your key information, and we'll automatically populate this S3 bucket with a dump of every event going through the system. And that's super useful if you want to, for example, do your own MapReduce algorithms against your event data, or if you want to, for example, take those events and import them into, say, Amazon Redshift for your own sort of data warehousing. So we can create those archives really easily. We can also route events off to webhooks very easily. You can set up a webhook with your own custom endpoint, and then as events come through the system, we can send all events to that particular endpoint, or you can set up filters and specify only particular types of events, for example, that you want to pass off to your webhook. For example, one of my engineers is going to be creating a blog post fairly soon talking about how he used the webhook feature to automatically send a feed of all events off to his own server running in Heroku, and then use a sort of pub sub model to subscribe his game client to this backend using Socket.io, such that he enabled the ability, so as events go through PlayStream, create a filtered feed of those events and actually route them off and push them proactively down to the client for real-time engagement. That's awesome. It's something we're eventually going to do in PlayFab itself as a built-in part of the service, but for now it's a really neat proof of concept of using this feature with some third-party tech to get the full pub sub model working. So that's actually really cool. We also have add-on partners. So we have these third-party add-ons which are pre-integrated into our system, and these add-ons, in some cases, we can automatically send event data to these partners. Like, for example, AppBury is one of our existing analytics providers, And if you wanted to use Apiary with your system, it's as simple as going here, hitting the install button, picking the tier you want, and then as soon as you are done setting it up, we will automatically start sending all of your event data from your game off into Apiary, and then give you a link to their dashboard to go in and do your own deeper analytics against the data. So it's super, super easy. A big part of that is that you can turn on Apiary and start populating its system with your data without having to put yet another SDK into your game. All of the integration with these partners can be done on the server side. So you can turn on these services and start writing data through PlayStream without having to modify your game. So that means you can try these things out once a game has already gone live without having to rebuild a client. And one especially cool feature we have in PlayStream is the ability to take your event history and replay it for you against one of these services. So for example, if your game has been live for 2 weeks and then you decide you need Apiary, you can turn on Apiary and we will actually be able to replay 2 weeks worth of your historical data against Apiary for you to sort of catch it up and bring it up to speed with all of your data, which is a great feature. So that's something very cool that we can do. We don't have UI for that yet, but it's something we can do if you contact us and it's something you need. All right, but where things really get interesting is being able to start to make decisions and take actions based on the data. So the first way to see that is here in this Actions tab. And I'm actually going to go ahead and create a new action here. So an action is essentially triggered by an event. So in this case, let's go to we're gonna create a little demo here where every time someone posts in the forum for our game, we want to give them a reward. And the more times they've posted, the more reward we want to give them. So in this case, we are taking advantage of one of our partners called Innervate. So Innervate here, they build community sites for games, and they've actually set up for us this basic kind of unicorn battle, which is a community site for games. It's a community site, it has forums, and they built this on top of this unicorn battle game. So let's go ahead and go look at PlayStream here. What I want to do in Unicorn Battle is I want to automatically set up this event to trigger when the forum post happens. So we can go into Actions, and I'm going to create a new action. We're going to call it Give Forum Post Reward, let's say. And in this case, we're going to trigger it off of a statistic change. So in this case, we are automatically, as part of the integration with Innervate, we're automatically incrementing a statistic called forum post, which goes up by 1 every time the player posts a new forum. So in this case, I'm going to trigger off of the stat change event, and I'm going to go ahead and filter where if the statistic name is forum post, then I want to trigger this particular action. Now I can never remember the field name of these kinds of things. So I'm going to show you how you can actually pick that up yourself. Let me go back into a Unicorn Battle here, and let's go ahead and go into the PlayStream history. And in this case, I want to trigger off of the stat change event. So this is exactly it. So this is the stat change event. So here you can see this is the event coming through, statistic change, and the field is called statistic name. So when statistic name is forum posts, that's when I want to trigger this event. So I'm going to copy that here and set it up. So when statistic name string value is equal to forum posts, that's when I want to trigger this particular action. And yes, obviously this should eventually be a drop-down box. We'll get there, but right now you have to paste it in yourself. So when this happens, I want to run an action. Now we have a whole bunch of different actions in the system automatically. We can do actions like sending a push notification, incrementing a player statistic, granting currency, and so on. One of the most powerful type of action, though, is actually running cloud script. So you can run arbitrary cloud script automatically anytime one of these actions happens, and that's super powerful. So in this case, I've already written a function in the system called onForumPost. So we're going to go look at that in a second, but I want to run this function automatically every time this stat change, every time a stat changes for forum post, and I want to actually insert an additional event into the PlayStream specifically when this event happens. And this is great for debugging purposes. You don't need to do this once the game is live and you're sure it's working correctly. So I'm going to save that action. So great, we now have that give forum post reward. Let's go look at the cloud script being triggered by this in this case. So let's go ahead and look at that here. So in this case, let's go to the code here. So what's going to happen? Well, one of the cool things when you trigger cloud script from an event is that we automatically pass into the cloud script the player profile, or there's a subset of the player profile, and the event message. So all of these fields here will be posted into the cloud script automatically when that event triggers. So what we're doing is we're first grabbing here context.placeEvent. This is the event itself that's being posted in, and here's the player profile, context.player profile that's being sent in. So I'm going to start by looking. I want to grab this field. I want to grab the number of forum posts that the player has made. In this case, it's going to be 7, for example. So I'm grabbing, and you can see the field name here is statistic value. So I'm able to grab the PS event.statistic value. That will give me the number of forum posts that the player has already made. I am then going to set up a new request body here to give the user virtual currency automatically whenever they post to the forum. So in this case, I'm going to create an object where the PlayFab ID is a current player ID. The virtual currency is going to be in gems, and the amount is going to be that statistic value from here. So this is going to basically say, in this case, for example, if the player had posted 7 times, give the player 7 gems. And then I'm going to go ahead and call add user virtual currency to give those gems. So that's the script we're going to run. Let's go ahead and actually watch this happen now in real time. So here's our dashboard for this game. And I believe we can group this off here into a separate tab. And let's shrink it a little bit. And let's also set this one up in a slightly different over here. Okay, there's my cloud script. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and log in here with my Facebook credentials. And having just logged in, notice that we just got an event over here, player logged in, Facebook. So that's my player logging in, James Gerson 117. And the names don't match because this is this forum site is actually caching my old display name, so separate issue. Okay, so let's go ahead now and go to the forums, and I'm going to create a new forum post. Hello there, and I'm posting that to the forum. And so as soon as I post that to the forum, you'll notice a bunch of things happening over here. You'll notice that this event generated, so forum post, sure enough, went from 7 to 8 automatically, and that in turn automatically ran the on-forum post cloud script, which then ran, this is the event of that running, and it gave, and you can see my virtual currency balance went from 348 gems to 356 gems. So I got 8 new gems. So the code worked perfectly. And if I want to, I can actually click on this event body here and see for debugging purposes exactly what happened. So you can see the event was player triggered cloud script, the source was cloud script, the event function was on forum post, that cloud script was ran. I can see which version of code it was. I can see things like how long it took to run, and also here is the event data that triggered it. So in this case, I'm saying this is the event that actually triggered the cloud script to run, player.change forum posts. Here is the player profile that was passed in, as well as some other information about the event. So that's great. So that shows off running cloud script and taking an action in the game, in this case giving virtual currency, in response to an event, in this case being triggered, not by the game itself, being triggered by this third-party service Innervate. So that's a cool little demo. I now want to talk about a different feature of PlayStream, which is a little more sophisticated, which is the ability to do real-time segmentation based on PlayStream events. And so in this case, we're going to go ahead and create a new segment, and let's call this segment, let's create a segment of players with a lot of XP. So let's go look actually at my player. We've got this player James Gerson 117. Let's go look at my stats. So my player has 10,000 XP. All right. So let's go ahead and go into PlayStream and let's create a new segment. And I'm going to call this segment Big XP Player. It's a silly sounding segment. And these are all the different criteria you can use to define what segment you're putting your player in. In this case, I'm going to create a player segment based on the stat value of XP. And if XP is greater than 10,000, then this is going to put my player into this XP segment. And I can also trigger actions automatically whenever a player enters or exits this segment. So in this case, I'm going to do 2 different actions. I'm going to send a push notification automatically. So I'm going to say something like, hey there, hi. And this is a neat feature because I'm actually customizing the push notification based on the player's display name. So this player display name, this is going to be passed, this is part of the player profile that gets passed in. We can access any of the fields of the player profile, high profile display name. You have a lot of XP. Very basic. Let's add another action here In this case, I also want to, for example, grant, let's go ahead and grant an item out of the game catalog. So here's my catalog. Let's pick an item. Let's go ahead and give the player a small gem bundle. So some gems in response for leveling up and having more than 10,000 XP. All right, so save that segment. Boom. Okay, so now I've got this new segment called Big XP Player. I can look at that and see how it's defined. There it is. So that's in there now. And if you look at my player, James 117, and go to segments, you'll notice I'm not yet in that segment because nor should I be, because I don't yet have 10,000 XP. However, when I play the game, that will change. So let's go ahead and watch the dashboard here. And now I'm going to finally now run the game on my phone. So let's find the game. Here it is, Unicorn Battle.
So you'll notice,
a couple things here. You'll notice as I'm running this game, you should see some events coming through the PlayStream debugger. So you'll notice I just logged in. It's got a login event here as an Android device ID.
And
I'm now
logged in.
I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button here.
And
let's go ahead now and complete a quest. So completing this quest is going to give my player some XP.
So let's go ahead and
complete this quest.
Fight the monster. Okay, boom.
The quest is now over.
Let's see what happens
here in PlayStream.
Bunches have happened.
Okay.
So the first thing, here's
the actual battle. So I fought the battle,
and you'll lose my
XP went from 10,000 to 10,620.
And sure enough,
that automatically put me into the segment Big XP Player.
It sent me the push
notification.
Hey there,
James 117, you have a lot of XP,
and it
granted me a small gem bundle.
Granted me a small gem bundle
to my player.
And so if I go
scroll up to here, you'll see that sure enough,
I got
a small gem bundle put into my inventory.
And that small gem bundle gave me 5 more gems.
So my gems went from 356 to 361.
So that's cool.
Now, I did not actually get a push notification on my phone just now. It's kind of
frustrating.
So let's see what happened. It's possible that we did not have the phone registered. So just to make sure, let's go ahead and go to my account settings.
And let's go ahead
and
register push
notifications.
Okay. I've now registered push
notifications on my device.
And sure enough, you can
see that the register push notifications event came through here.
So let's go ahead and let's try that
one more time just to see if it's going to work this time. Let's go back into let's go players.
Look at my James
117 segment. You'll notice, by the way, that I'm now in the Big XP Player segment. That's been set now. One thing is that these segments are in real time. If I were to change my stats back down to less than, to back down, say, 9999
and save this, you'll notice that my dashboard, you'll notice that my XP changed. And now if I look at my player tab as well, I should no longer be in that segment. And sure enough, I'm not in that segment anymore. So now let's go ahead and play a match again. And sure enough, it worked this time. So you can see here, I just completed my match, and I got the push notification on my phone telling me that we now have a lot of XP. So there it is. That worked perfectly.
And there's the notification that went out.
Just for fun,
you'll notice I have another
event here in
PlayStream.
I've created
another one action called Notify Display and Change, where if my display name changes, I also send a push notification. And so just to see that running, you can go in here, go to my account.
I'm
going to change my display name.
Change it to, for example.
Whoops.
It's called Jimmy G. Is that okay? And boom, you'll notice that I've got this event now saying your display name's been changed to Jimmy G. And sure enough, you can see through the dashboard here that the event went out. So that is a whirlwind tour of PlayStream. Just to recap, what we've seen here is we've seen how PlayStream lets you take all the data from your game, put it in one place, see it in real time, event debugging, inspect events as they go by, to then set actions and triggers. So as events are going by based on certain criteria, you can call actions into your game, and also how we can now take those events
and automatically send them onward to third parties. So for example, when I look at, here in PlayStream, when I go look at my event history now, you'll notice this most recent event history, this event has already been delivered through to two of the add-ons we have enabled. In this case, I've got segment.com set up as one of my add-ons, and I've also got Apery set up as one of my add-ons. And so when I go to look at my add-ons tab here, you'll see that those have in fact been set up. So there is segment.com set up in my system, and also down here we have find Apery. Here it is. Apery is actually set up this game. It doesn't show up in this add-on back here, but it is set up for this. Okay, so that gives you a sense. Thank you very much. Please check out PlayStream yourselves. It is super fun. It's very easy to get working. At the moment, PlayStream is free, although we do plan on charging for it. So the pricing is on the website, but the charging will kick in at the end of May. But for now, have at it. Send us feedback. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We have a lot of exciting features coming with PlayStream. Stay tuned. Thanks. Bye.